What's up everybody, welcome back to Poker Profit channel, and in today's video I'm going to explain you a very important concept in poker which is going to allow you to have a considerable edge versus opponents that don't understand this yet. And the concept is range advantage. And to explain you range advantage, you first need to understand what are the pre-flop ranges in poker, because depending on how you play a hand pre-flop, people are going to put you in a certain range, while if you're playing from another position, people are going to put you in another range. So to show you a practical example, this is supposed to be your range from open raise from the under the gun. So you should open raise roughly 10.3% of your range of hands from this position, while from the hijack, for example, you should open raise 21.2% of your range from here. So if I open raise from the under the gun, and let's say you call from the big blind, my under the gun range will be stronger, considerably stronger than my range if I were the same, if I was myself open raising from the hijack. And so to understand range advantage is, let's say for example, I open raise from the hijack, it folds to me, everybody folds to me, and I open raise from the hijack, and you call from the button. And let's say it comes a flop like ace, ace, king. Before seeing the result of that, who would you say it will have range advantage? Is gonna be the big blind or the hijack in a board ace, ace, king with two diamonds? Think about it. The person who is gonna have range advantage is gonna be the guy who opened raise from the hijack, because if the big blind had a hand like ace, king, ace, queen, ace, jack, aces, kings, the big blind will most likely 3-bet. Most of the times he would 3-bet. So he would have way less combinations of ace-x hands, ace-king hands, aces and kings than the hijack who open raise. And he would open raise with aces, kings, ace-king, ace-queen, ace-jack. So the person who will have range advantage in this case is the hijack. And because the hijack has range advantage, so it comes to the big blind, and big blind checks 100% of the times here. When it comes to hijack, hijack almost c-bets 100% of the times. Actually, c-bets 98.7% of the times. And most of the times it checks is going to be with aces here as a slow play. But this happened because as hijack has range advantage and he has a lot of value hands in his range like aces, kings, ace king, ace queen suited, ace queen offsuit, ace jack suited, ace jack offsuit, all those hands, because he has a lot of value hands in his range, he can also have a lot of bluffs in his range, because in poker you should be balanced by your bettings in a way that you're betting for value, but you also can bet as a bluff. And because you have so many value hands in your range, you can have more bluffs in your range as well. Another thing that you should understand is that there is range advantage and there is nut advantage. The nut advantage is about the hands that you have in your range that have the nuts. Like for example, ace, ace, king board, the nutted hands would be ace, king, aces, that there is only one combination, kings. Those are the hands. So aces, kings, and ace, king, big blind will most likely never have, like it's gonna be really rare, because otherwise with all those hands you would 3-bet. While hijack has all those hands. So hijack has nut advantage, but he also has range advantage, because range advantage is all the hands that actually hit that board, like ace 2 suited, ace 3 suited, ace 4 suited, ace 5 suited, all the aces, all the ace X offsuit as well that he doesn't have. Ace 8, ace 7, ace 6, GTO wouldn't open raise from the hijack. But there's a lot of people in a live game that is going to open raise a bunch of ace X offsuit and is going to have even more range advantage. And you understand who has range advantage, you understand that you can bet more often as a bluff and for value as well. And when you have nut advantage, you can bet bigger, you can polarize more. Why? Because you have a really good hand. So when you have a really good hand, you usually want to extract maximum value and you want to bet big. You just don't bet big so often, because sometimes you're going to scare your opponent away by doing that. Now let's use the same example, but let's change the board texture. So instead of ace, ace, king board, I'm gonna put a 9, 8, 6 board with 2 hearts. Now, you can see that big blind leads more often now. And why is that? It's because these board textures favors big blind's range. Big blind would call 6, 7, 9, 8, even 10 jack, 6s, 7, 5. Big blind has some range advantage and nut advantage. And because of this, big blinds on GTO Wizard would lead more often. But let's say you decide to check, and let's see hijack range right now. You can see that hijack is supposed to see bet roughly 44% of the times and check 56% of the times. And why is that? It's because this board favors big blind's range. So if hijack decides to see bet, and let's say big blind understand range advantage and has, let's say he has a hand 5-4 of hearts and hijack c bets, big blind should check raise more often because this board favors big blind's range. And because it favors big blind's range, big blind will have a lot of value hands, but because he would have a lot of value hands, he can insert some bluffs in his range. So 5-4 of hearts, for example, will be a very solid bluff for you to check raise. So because of this, GTO will see bet less often from the hijack because he knows that if he see bets a lot, he's gonna get a lot of check raises and he's gonna have to fold, while if he checks back, he will control the pot, he will still be in position, and he can reach some good cards in the turn. He can still be winning. Let's say that you can see that even jacks almost checks 50% of the times. Jacks would bet 33% of the times, depending on what's the suit, but it will roughly be checking 55% of the times and betting 45% of the times. So you can see that even the overpair will check back really often because it doesn't make so much sense to see bet in a board with a lot of hands that the board favors his range. And because it favors his range versus a good player, this guy will bluff more. So when you check back the jacks, you know that you're gonna call a bet on the third, and most likely you will call a bet on the river. But when you check, you represent weakness, so the other guy can bet as a bluff and you can make money over his bluffs. You understand what I'm saying? Because when you check and I decide to bluff on turn and river, you're gonna call and call with an overpair, and you're gonna make more money than you would make if you only see bet in the flop and I just folded. So overall, this is range advantage. Range advantage is how your range comparing to the board texture favors your range of hands or the other guy's range of hands. And if it favors your range, as you have more value hands in your range, you can also insert more bluffs, so you're gonna bet more often. While if you have nut advantage, what happens is that in your range, you have the nutted hands, the best possible hands in your range. And if you have that, you can bet bigger as well. So when you have range advantage and nut advantage, what's gonna happen is that you're gonna bet really often, and you even have the option of betting really big and putting a lot of pressure with your value hands and with your bluffs. So when you have a bluff in hand and you know you have range advantage and nut advantage, I highly recommend you to think about how big should I bet so I put the most pressure and I make a lot of hands in his range to fold. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing to this channel if you want more videos like this. I also have a lot of poker vlogs that I show you in practice, where you see me playing live and how I think, how I play the hands. Inside those poker vlogs, you can see a lot of examples of me using range advantage and nut advantage to make a higher sizing. I'm gonna put a video, I'm gonna recommend a video here in case you wanna watch one of the vlogs. And I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.